Which scene is live right now? Let's see. It's got an awfully big camera. Let's start. Let's not tell everybody. That's just too much. Okay, so the one with the camera is the live one. Let's switch that. Way transition. There we go. Let's see if I can't make myself a little smaller in the window. If we want to have me, it's fine. I don't know. Bottom right. All right, I'm in the corner if anybody wants to see me. Hi, Drew. I'm gonna invite you on stage today, in case you want to add anything to discussion. I don't have any any really clear objectives today, so I just kind of going to try to check in on the various aspects of getting Zephyr going on the R5. Maybe try to take a look at OpenOCD. I heard you for a second. No worries. Don't feel too obliged. Hopefully Ayush can show up as well. I was chatting with him on other topics this morning. Maybe we'll get lucky and see Andrew Davis. And let's go ahead and ping Andre too. All right, good. Let me see where I'm at. I haven't upgraded this disk image in a long time. I don't know if I should start with that today. Because maybe some of these things that we've done are in by default now. And it would be good to check that. I think I did do a Beagle apt-get update and apt-get upgrade, which should get me close enough to what a new disk image would get me. See how many packages have been updated since I played with this last. Looking at the files I've got open, trying to remember exactly what we're doing. I think one of the big things was getting a patch into Zephyr that included the load, right? So
hello, I've been summoned.
Hi. Sure, summoned. No, just trying to make this, trying to cover as much interesting as possible.
Jason,
so,
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Are you not hearing me in Discord? Let's try muting and unmuting. Muting and unmuting make any difference? Let's try disconnecting and then join stage again. What about now?
Yes, I can hear now. Hello.
Working.
Hi. Yeah, Discord is kind of flaky sometimes about when it catches the audio or not, so the YouTube stream should have it, but I don't know how many.
I'm very confused as to where you pinged me, because you pinged me on something, and I can't tell where.
Yeah, it's in the chat of this session, right? So there's in the top right of the on stage section.
Okay.
There's an icon.
Gotcha, I see it. Okay.
And we've kind of all but abandoned using Big Blue Button for now, just because there's a lot of x86 dependencies in the code, so it doesn't look like any of them couldn't be handled, right? There's a lot of media codec stuff that should all be on ARM systems now, but so for the foreseeable future, we're still stuck with Discord.
Okay.
So, but I've got the YouTube stream, so we have an archive. Going through these things, I think, would be pretty painful, but having good working sessions, figuring out how to do this better, such that we can use these types of working sessions to kind of focus some of the community efforts, is something we'll learn. But first of all, we just got to get this Zephyr development on BeagleY-AI right. So keeping this focus on it, to me, seems the point. So I was just picking up kind of where we left off before the holidays, pulling in some of the. Do you see the screen? So you can't see the screen unless.
Unless you join the YouTube stream, yeah.
Yeah, so I think the only way to see the screen is to do the YouTube. So let me share the stream link.
I'm feeling extra terrible about things, so I decided I'm gonna look at Edge.ai again. So I'm taking a look at that to see if it's changed.
Yeah, I'd love to do this sort of focus on Edge.ai.
Yeah. So yeah, I might try to set some time like this, and then I'll just share my screen, I guess, or someone can do it. There's a guy in Ukraine that actually has a drone with BeagleY-AI, running Yocto, but he's doing inference on it, and he has it in Model Composer and everything, and he's actually doing using it. So
that's pretty awesome.
I've been watching his YouTube videos, translated by YouTube auto caption. Trying to figure out what he did. I don't think he documented it yet, but look into it.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to go the Debian build route though. I'm trying to do it the hard way, but.
Well, I got you a builder that. So we've got a builder.
The CI, I know it's in CI. Yeah, I'm trying to just do it on an Ubuntu machine the way it's recommended, just to at least see if it works, and then do the mess with the auto builder.
Yeah, because if we can
remove one more thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I know I started playing with that, and it works great. It's just it's not your infrastructure that I'm worried about. It's more how they have the build scripts working. Because I'm already having to hack up, make files, and
getting a little bit of the disk image creation side of things cleaned up would be nice. I don't know if you've seen the Yasib. Just if you want to just manually hack a disk image,
yeah.
If we could get that CI friendly, that would be nice too.
Yeah, once I can get something at least working, then I'll definitely put it into CI. Just yeah, I want to see if I can at least hack it into a Debian image.
Yeah.
Well, and by hack it, I mean get it building into a Debian image, but yeah, not just moving files.
Ooh, I didn't.
Check from the fun Zephyr stuff.
Yep. So last time we'd gotten the rules the rules updates, I think, in place, but we were trying to do the there's a couple different blocking items for doing West build, or is it West Flash? Sorry, West Flash is what starts it running, and so we kind of hacked enough into Zephyr to figure out where we can get our Python code called, and now we just have to copy the firmware into place into the symlinks to get it to go to get it to load, and then we're going to have to try to deal with the fact that the kernel won't stop the core. So, but Andrew had kind of pointed us in the right direction of what we needed to do to go and modify the kernel to get it to go ahead and stop the core no matter what, with some caveats that you may or may not crash your system. But it's probably worth taking some sort of risk if I can at least debug a little bit faster without having to reboot every time I reload the R5 code just to do development. Of course, getting the OpenOCD stuff working would be...
I pointed the OpenOCD PR for the J722SS SWD.
We're at SWD.
Yeah, I mean, they named it, Nishant named it SWD. It's not SWD, it's self-hosted debugging.
Okay. Yeah, it wasn't that the patch wasn't in, because I think that we're using the right version of OpenOCD that has it. It's that it hangs. So does the version you pointed to have any fixes for hangs? Like, because we'll try to get back to that point. I don't know if we'll get to get there with West Debug or just with OpenOCD, but right now when we try to do the OpenOCD debugger, the last time we tried it just hung the system. Well, I say that, I think it might have just seg faulted. I'm willing to work in any direction. If there's actually active questions, I would focus on those first. But I know that we were last time Ayush and I were looking at this. Where is our script? Not this one. We were looking at what it took to do West Flash, and we had, and I don't know if anybody's picked up at all, but we had a Python script running inside of Zephyr when you did West Flash.
Yep.
So I don't know if that's a good point to pick things up at, or if we want to jump into OpenOCD.
How about we just complete the part for the West Flash and then we wait for the Linux side to upstream its fixes for the stop, RP stop.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that it'll get upstreamed. I mean, it'd be great if it would, right? Because part of it's not upstreamable, right? So if we, well, I guess part of it was there's also some parts that need to be upstreamed into Zephyr, because if you do the handshake, you can quit elegantly, right? So in the OpenAMP code inside of Zephyr, you can exit gracefully. So that's the right way. And then we should time out and go ahead and shut things down, even if we don't know the state of the R5.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Okay. All right, so we were in, where does it go? It goes into scripts, right? So scripts, Zephyr, West commands, runners, and we had our new runner. Right? Did this get pushed anywhere?
You pushed it in the BeagleY-AI Zephyr repo.
Okay. Zephyr. All right, so some of the last stuff, right? So some of the last patches, right? So we had this remote proc.py that we'd created, and we were seeing some of the parameters, but the last thing we were trying to figure out was how to find the exact file name, I believe. Is that not the case? Wasn't it the weren't we looking last time to find the exact file name?
Yeah, I think so. Although I was not there last time.
Okay. So if we do West Flash and we target the build, which build is this? So build. Hopefully this is not this is the right build and it's not going to take long because it should be mostly built. Because we need to point to one of the ones that's the build directory. I never remember the build instructions, so yeah, the lesson. Okay, we could do hello. So given that we've got our patch in here to have the remote proc, we should now, when we get this build and we try to do the flash, it should run the remote proc script. And that's where we left it off. I think we were getting to it, but we were just struggling to find out what the exact elf file was from the command line. Okay, well, this is baking. Anybody have any questions? So I know we also need to look at what's the there's a couple more updates on Andrew's pull requests, right? Was there anything that we need to be looking at on his pull?
He seems to have pushed some things yesterday, I think. Some fixes to the comments that were mentioned.
Yeah, I didn't see anything pending.
It is showing for me at least.
Well, I meant for my review. It looked like all the items were closed. I didn't see if there was anything that was I'm looking at the pull request now. I think he punted on GPIO for now. So we're just waiting for reviewers.
Yeah.
You're listed for review. Yeah.
Yeah. I will just see.
Also,
if I have any
is
change.
BeagleY coming in the future milestone? From what I can see, so it's coming in the next release, like 4.2. Sorry, 4.1 if I'm not wrong.
That would be the next stable version, I think.
Yeah. We are going to get it merged around that time.
I mean, I have seen things get merged prior to the milestone. It just means that it should be merged by that time. I think.
Makes sense. Okay, got it.
Yeah, so hopefully we get these reviews done quickly so we can get it merged, but it doesn't have like the changes that we've got here for the remote proc would all be separate, right? So we'd have to layer those on top.
Yeah.
All right, so built okay. Sorry, go ahead, please.
Okay.
use Control K.
So,
All right, so this is now the output from our Python script. All right, so I was looking to see, we've got the config values. So we're looking in the Zephyr docs for what's this API called? I don't know what this API is called. So if we look at the source, right, so we've got these runner configs and build configs.
Oh, my own question actually. How do you plan to like set the paths for the remote proc? In the config side? Like suppose we have BeagleY-AI, we have BeagleBone AI64. How do we plan to set the paths of the various cores?
So we did a remote proc rule for that, right? And maybe that doesn't. I mean, a UDEV
Okay,
rule.
right. But more specific towards Zephyr, I meant like, do we create like a CMake file? Sorry, we create a CMake file to point it towards that, or some K-config?
So the build config should actually say which core it was built for.
yeah,
That's
you can have different CMake files for like each core, which specify the exact paths themselves.
Oh, yes. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
But I think right now the struggle is just trying to figure out where do we find it, right? Because it's already there, right? Config board target right there. Maybe that's it. Is that the one we want to use? Config board target has BeagleY-AI, J722S.
Oh yeah, hello. That's the one. That's the one. Yeah.
Okay, so let's use config board target, and now we got to get back into editing this remote proc script, and so at this point we have. So I just want to print the L file. Well, first I'll do the target config. Target.
So if I'm not wrong, we have to like get a way to just point the current board config to the remote proc path.
That's right. I think what you're saying is right. Right. We just need to be able to map the from this output which core we're configured to we're built for, and map that to where the UDEV rules would map that core. Instead of using the memory offsets, we're using the UDEV rules to deal with the memory offsets.
Yeah, I think that way it can be scalable for other boards also that uses remote proc.
Absolutely.
Other SoC.
That is 100% the idea, right? We want this to be a generic upstreamable thing that any platform that uses remote proc, you know, if they do a symlink for their core that matches the name, then they should be good.
Yeah.
So if we look at config build options, config board target, right, that should be something that's generic for all Zephyr targets, right? So we're not putting anything that's Beagle specific or BeagleY specific in there. Yep. I'm just going to call this TBD right now because we still don't know where the L file is, right? So but now we've got the, so that to be read. Okay, open 1, 2. Should be 2. All right. So now we should now output the. If I just save that, we do the West Flash again. We should now just see the. There we go. Now we've got the target as a BeagleY-AI J722S main. Now, how do we? Because we want to map that to this J7-main.
Normally, when I use Westflash, I don't actually mention the path. I think there should be a way to get the elf file when it's present in the working directory. There should be some way.
Are you talking
So
about?
there is a variable in like which is passed to the CMake config file that has the paths for the folder since I used it for like Beagle Play or something. But yeah, something is. Let me see if I can find the exact variable. So, oops.
I wish there was a good way for you to share on stage.
Okay, yeah. So it seems that it's not passed to CMake config. It's I guess passed as a parameter at the end of whatever you have in the CMake config as your flasher.
Wait, is there no config for the elf file path? Like when you build it, there should be somewhere it stores all of that, right? So like you build and then you flash.
Uh, what did you just say? It cut off in between.
Oh, yeah. So what I meant was when we build, we actually it gets the path from that, right? The elf file path, destination path. So I think
Yeah,
so. We should be able to access that. There should be some variable that's actually storing that while
yeah.
using West.
From some variable is storing that, and the other thing is that whatever flasher you have, I think uh, the last argument to it is the path to the elf file. I mean that is passed to it. Uh,
So it looks like inside of runner config, there's a. Is this provided or is this? Um, there should be an elf file. Um,
Zephyr doc.
I get so easily turned around. So runner config. So when we let's look at our class here. So we've got when we're initialized, somebody's passing us a runner config. Do create pass somebody passes us a runner config as a class method. So I believe that they're going to call this do create method with the runner config. So that's going to be saved in why is that first argument? Just first argument. So runner config. So runner config. Is that an instance variable? Does that become an instant variable, or do we need to save that off in a init? Oh no, we're using it here in build config. We just take the build directory. But if we just said we should just be able to save it off like that, right?
Yep.
So now we have runner self.runner config. and we can just look here and just say self.runner config and we just need elf file. I think it's a direct member of runner config, so yeah, there's our link to our elf file. So now we've got the target that we're being built for and our elf file. So we just need the mapping of that to do we want to where do we want to do this, right? Because if we start doing this mapping in here, it becomes pretty non-generic. We could start.
How about board.cmake file? It should be present in each board directory.
Sure. Right. If we. Yeah, it's just it becomes a little less generic, right? Then we have to provide this configuration every time. But maybe that's enough.
So any arguments, I think, which are passed through the CMake config will show up here as well, right? The args parameter that we have.
Yeah, this KWArg should provide it. Right. If we but we can do that in the board.cmake, we can provide args, right? Just like you were showing here, right? So you got --bcf. Yeah, but this is a MISC flasher. Here we're just gonna have remote proc flasher. So let's look at our flasher, our board.c.
Yeah, maybe at that point we can just point it to the board.cmake file maps. So like list of our side and list of their side within that.
Maybe. I'm just trying to think if there's some way we can do it a little bit more generic. Like if we could use this target, we could make a symlink that matches that target. Like why are we inconsistent in our target names? So we kind of chose them arbitrarily. I wonder if the Zephyr names might be the best. Although we've kind of avoided using like the board target, so it could be more generic, right? So in our symlinks, right, we're just using, there's J7, right, because of the family, but potentially like the same, I don't know, could the same configs be used for other boards, like if you're on TDA4VM?
They have much more number of cores from what I can see.
So we just including the generic. How do we add more? Do we do this board finalize runner? I'm not so familiar with the CMake syntax. It's my number one beef about Zephyr, is having to learn all of these different syntaxes. So I don't know CMake. Do you know if we so there's these
there should be a runner for OpenOCD, I think, and that should probably pass arguments as well. So let me just check.
But I don't think so. Right now we're doing with OpenOCD, right? That will come under the OpenOCD config.
Right. I think he's just looking for the way of passing arguments.
So OpenOCD in like some boards it's used for board debugging and flashing, and those boards probably pass the marks to OpenOCD. I'm just guessing here.
Yeah, permanent CMake arguments. See that.
To view all the available options that your runner supports. so it should actually report them. So that's interesting. So I don't know that we're reporting any of our arguments. Runner specific capabilities. So we should probably add one here, at least as an option here that we can. There's a lot of stuff here.
Okay, right. So where is the remoteproc.board.cmake located? We can use that, it seems.
It should be there in the board.common.
Yeah. So like how it seems to be done for other runners is that you set some CMake variables, and then inside the specific like flasher CMake file, you just pass those arguments when invoking the flasher.
And for some, I'm not quite able to follow. So there's common configuration. It's interesting that OpenOCD gets spiked out. And it seems like, can't we add into? Yeah, I'm just not. I'm not understanding necessarily what you're saying. So do add parser, right? So we want to add a parser here, don't we? Isn't the right way to do it just to add a parser to take different arguments?
Yeah, I was also thinking the same thing. We could add it like that, and then we could pass it as an argument in CMake.
Yeah. So if we add an argument just like these other ones should be doing, to our method, where is the add parser? Yep, so right here, right? So we just add a parser like this.
I think we can use those for like basically start stop.
We shouldn't need start stop. Maybe I didn't, because I didn't follow the things you were saying earlier about the common. I might have missed something, but I mean, once we have the location of the control, like the main directory, this should be a common, essentially, API for remote proc, right? It's with the firmware, the name, the state, right? So we shouldn't need anything other than right, essentially a remote proc directory. Although we shouldn't depend, we should be just a store. Hate these APIs aren't actually documented, like in them.
That's just, I think, standard arc parse, so you don't need any custom action for like just having one argument.
Oh, okay. So if you just leave it, it'll do the what you'd expect, which is just to override it. What do you call it? Remote proc directory. I don't know. If I need to put that onto another line.
And I think this will be required parameter in our case.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I'd hoped we could get it not required, like we could have like a default if it mapped, like if these file names matched, like it would like by default it would use the something from the target, the build target. That was my hope, is that we could have somehow it use, by default, use this board entry.
Yeah, I think so. That's where the target comes under, the board target.
Yeah, I mean, I think if a dev remote proc this was defined,
Yeah.
then I don't think we should have to specify the remote proc directory. I think we should default to something that somebody can provide, and otherwise put it in the board config file. All right, so we have a way to give an argument, and we're going to assume the default is this config dev proc the config board target. If not, so so now we need to find out if this argument's been included. Oh, here they're specifying default. Arg.stat. Okay. It's done in the do create. Were those specified in the, oh my goodness. Oh no, here they're calling create binary runner. So in their binary runner, we don't have that. We're just using our self. Self dot. Hopefully we can do this. Oh, we do have runner config here. All right, so oh, it's in build config. Okay, the L file is. This is a correctional, right? So I've got, if they defined it in the arguments, just use whatever they provide in the arguments. If not, then do /dev/remote proc followed by the build config. I'm gonna have to say self here because that's not that's I'm sure that's far too long for a line. Now let's look at self.remote proc instead. So Sure, I should have been saving off some of this intermediate. Oh, I don't want context. Well, it might be interesting to say context, is now it should tell me that it's an option. Unexpected indent. All right. Do the plus. If I trail the plus, that'll probably work, right? Then it's going to be looking. I hate Python. What does it want? Does it want a slash to continue the line? I mean, it's not at the same indent level, so why is it... I don't understand this Python parser. It's stupid. Yeah, so now remote proc options, remote proc directory is one. If given, provide the location of the remote proc directory. Args is not defined. So when we do create, we don't pass args, so let's pass args. Because now we have args. It got really quiet.
Yeah.
All right, there's still folks there. Watching coding may not be that the most exciting thing. Hopefully there's some
Cheered.
information gleaned.
Cheer on every enter. Woo!
All right, look, I passed the directory. Now we can put that into the config file, and if we don't provide that, we should default to... Yay! Something that doesn't exist, but for something that we could actually create. So we can either do board.cmake or that crazy thing, and now we've got it passed. I think it's time to save something off.
Are you committing it?
I am, but I've got to... I'm going to... I don't have this board. It doesn't have any keys to push anything anywhere.
Okay.
So I'm going to commit it and then just like copy paste the diff into another computer and then actually push it. So it won't get pushed right now, but I'm going to commit it. Make it, I don't know.
Jason, I had one question. How do you have so much space in this for downloading the Zephyr repo?
It doesn't take that much. Like you think. So, oh, you know what? The big thing is my west.yaml. I have a customized west.yaml. Oh, not here, right? So it's in the project. The big thing is here. So this west.yaml, we do import, but we only have a name allow list of a limited one.
Oh, okay. So you don't install the other projects. Sorry, other.
So this is that's a really important thing to point out, right? So.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Okay, I understood. Okay, this makes sense.
So
because most of the time I try it's so big, and most of the time just hogs 95% of my space.
Yeah.
It's
So
actually
we have a project specific west.yaml. Now what we want to figure out how to do is to have like the key stuff downloaded on the disk image, right? Because we don't expect, most of the time people aren't going to be actually hacking into Zephyr itself.
Yep.
So I've got to try to figure out that. And I really don't have a good idea for that yet. But yeah, the end of it, like when you did download it, right? We're just downloading the main Zephyr and then like, a small collection of sub projects. Not.
Okay, so what about the SDK side?
It is a full SDK. It is a full SDK, right? So. So that's almost a gigabyte. So and this I have a, how big is my SD card?
64.
No, this is a much bigger SD card, right? So meg, how many? So kilo 100 and, that seems small, right?
118 GB.
Oh, maybe that's right. That sounds high. Well, yeah, maybe it's, yeah. I think I've got 128. Yeah, 128 gigabyte drive at SD. That's right. This one is a 128, but I'm not using that much, right? But still, you know, we want to try to get this under like a 32 gigabyte card, I think, to be reasonable. I'm using 13 gigs right now. Yeah, using 13 gigs right now.
I mean, yeah, that's good enough. I think so. If it's able to come within the 32 GB, it should be viable for the in-house Zephyr development.
Yep. Yep. So, but it looks like I've got a 128 card in here. So, I don't like it being that big, but yeah, we'll get it smaller. If we look at just like in this directory, it doesn't have the SDK, which is almost a gigabyte. I eventually would like to figure out how to get the tools compatible enough we can just use the Debian native tools. Right, Zephyr, the Zephyr directory here is another 1.2 gigabytes. So 1.2 for Zephyr, and then another 1 for the SDK, the compilers.
You can say give or take about 3 GB, 3.5 if you include everything else.
Well, what else is there?
Like dependencies, Pythons. I think so. It has a few. Then there's West
Yeah,
itself.
the Python, right? So, so the I'm putting all the individual Python packages into a virtual environment, which is 48. But then you've got the Python itself, and yeah, you know, all the other stuff in the system. But this is agitating to me, right? Just Python itself, I hate. Like, it's just like the yeah. I won't. I'm not gonna. I'm not, try not to spin out on all the reasons I hate Python. All right, so we've got. So, but we might as well try to actually load it, right? Of course, right now.
Yep.
I don't know if we want to edit the board config file by default to do that, to include the argument. We can do that in the board.cmake. So that that's probably the right example to provide. What's that?
Yeah, I was thinking that, we have the runner in the common board.common, we have runner.cmake. We could basically give it like a cmake argument to pass which directory we require, and then each board could choose whatever it wants to load.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like, so you're saying it's going to go into the CMake configuration for the no board, or like common, like SOC. Are you talking about putting it into?
We keep it in the common. So if you go to boards.common, so there should be another runner.cmake, remote proc.cmake that we created last week, I think so. No, little bit. It should be a common within the boards directory.
Yeah, boards common. And we made a remote proc board.cmake here.
Correct.
All right, how do I put it here?
Oh, once.
So
yeah,
you can go ahead.
No, you can see. A little busy myself.
Yeah, so at least in case of OpenOCD, they use normal CMake variables, and then you pass the value of those CMake variables. Something like, let's say this.
But I would put that into this board.cmake, right? I would put it in. I would define that variable, and then I would assign that variable here.
Let me just
copy it.
post something.
Yeah. I'd be happy
So-
to give this stage over. If somebody wants to share their screen, they shouldn't have a limitation like I do. Oh, okay, I see something here now. If they want to share if you want to share your screen on stage, you shouldn't have the same limitations I do. For some reason, if I try to share mine while I'm streaming with OBS, it doesn't like Discord doesn't like it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if Discord screen sharing will work on my machine either. It's not great in Linux. I mean, I got it working one time in last year, and that's about it.
So we're gonna grab it from. Oh, so this is gonna
specific.
Yeah, but yeah, but it's kind of a. I mean, you have to provide it now, right? It's no longer optional.
Yeah. That way, at least what we can do is that we could have we can have it like a common layer for all the boards to whichever uses remote proc, they could use it to load.
Okay.
Instead of having it individually to add in each area. So it's a common place to check what are the variables required.
Yeah. So if you specify the remote proc loader, you're going to have to specify this. Otherwise this is going to have to be patched.
You can add.
So now we specify that loader here.
In the.
I'm sorry.
You can add an if-else condition to check if the variable is defined, if it's important, but this is fine too.
How do I do that?
Remake it.
I don't know. I'm gonna leave it. Let's get it. Let's get this. Let's try to get this end to end, and then we can. And then we can improve. I mean, I don't think we've done anything too crazy here. This is not, not any worse than what other things have been done. But here, so where do I get that variable? Do I have to go put it in the config? The def config?
Yeah, in the board.cmake file, you can set variables using. Let me just provide an example. So it's something like this.
Why is it? Do I want default in here, or do I just want? Oh, that's an interesting thought. I don't know. Stream my YouTube screen. I mean, my YouTube screen is streaming. It's just not in. I don't know how to put it on. If somebody else streamed it, maybe on the stage, that might work. All right, so.
I'm not sure if you are supposed to set it before including, or if it is fine after including.
That's a good point. We'd want to do that before. But I don't like it here because right now we don't know which board. That's if somebody did it on an individual target, they would do this, right? So, that makes sense to fill it out for an individual target, but we want it really out of the def config. In this def config, we want a.
Yeah, so the kconfig variables also will show up in the CMake file if you append them with config dash, I think. But for that, you need to first define it in the kconfig BeagleY-AI, which probably is not the right place actually.
Yeah, I mean, there should be in the kconfig. It should be defined as part of the here, like where's this? There should be some kconfig variables for the. Why is my brain hurting? For does OpenOCD have any kconfig entries? Like if we're using OpenOCD for the
I
target?
don't think so. Okay.
All right, what's the right place to put this? Because this isn't generic, right? We, right now we've got the multiple cores that we're dealing with here, so we at least need to do some type of test.
I mean, it's possible to, I guess, like set the proc variable inside if conditions, which reads from the config port variable to check like which port it is. I don't think any other like flasher passes kconfig variables directly, at least not right now.
I mean, this seems like the right place to do it, right? Because if we can figure out which board is configured here within BeagleY-AI, we can be very specific. And then we're keeping this generic in it, saying, hey, if you're defining a board that uses remote proc, you should set this variable.
So I did find something similar. I have posted it on Discord chat. It seems like they just check the board in the board.cmake in this particular case, at least.
Yeah. If board config board. If config board this, okay. How do we know what our boards are? They're going to be in the kconfig, right? Because we've got. Or should we use this? How many do we have? 1, 2. That's it right now. Can we use this variable? Is this So I'm looking in the config.beagley.
So yeah, that we can use that variable, which you are highlighting in the YouTube chat stream if there is not delay, I guess.
So if board.beagley, what does that if condition look like? If That's a tab.
It will be config underscore port dot BeagleY.
Tab. And if else if. Set the syntax else if. Yep. Let's see what that does. Now that's only going to happen when we do the build, right? Because that's going to get copied over, so I got to redo the build.
Yeah.
It's unlike the West stuff that's going to be pulled in live. This is done at build time. This is going to impact how that variable is set in the runners.yaml file or wherever it stores those variables. I don't know where it stores these variables in that mess that it outputs. All right, so we got another build pause. So, how close are we to end? Like, this is draining for me. I don't know about everybody else, but this is not me in my optimal flow of productivity. But at least it's learning
live
new
streams
stuff.
See, I'm looking through make files, so what you're doing is seemingly fun.
Cool. Well, I'm learning a lot. That's for sure. It's like getting exposed to much different things, but I'm. This is not the right way to learn CMake syntax and all that fun, lovely jazz. All right. I have a directory. Is that the right directory? Paste, yes, please. It's the right directory. Sweet. That's cool. That's kind of cool. All right, now that we have a directory, when somebody says do run, we actually want to do something. So we have, right now we have the command, which is flash. We have the directory where we want to do it, and we have a link to the elf file to actually do it. So now we can actually start doing the things. Preference on where. If command equal flash, I'd say we. The thing is do we want to change the name? Because I think, and if we do change the name, what do we want the name to be? All right, so cat name. Oh, not that name. We want firmware. So do we want to change firmware entry, or do we want to? Because I know for a lot of people, they just leave firmware as a symlink. But I feel like when we automate this, that shouldn't necessarily be the approach. Right now, it's a real file. Oh no, file. The firmware is a file. Oh, that's a. It's the. I want to look at dev firmware. Where's firmware go? Lib firmware? Lib firmware, JSON. Yep, that is a file. So we probably don't want to be destructive. So my guess is that we overwrite the file name because we can. Except when it's running. Do we start by checking the running state?
Yeah.
What's the... with open... Oh, I can't remember. Open... What's the right Python syntax to use it on the condition of the file opening?
With 5.
Oh, let's not do any of these third-party things. Let's do this one.
It's with open as file name.
Yeah. So data, can we just read it in one line so we can fail or succeed or fail on reading the file in one line? So it's with open as, okay. With open as, not F equal, not with F equal, with open. As F dot read. Does that read? That slurp the whole file? If state
You need brackets around the print message in Python 3.
Stupid Python. Have I mentioned I hate Python? It's like you try to loosen up syntax and then you make other things more difficult. It's just stupid. Self-dot. Yeah. There are better programming languages out there. Why did we not reach that point? If command equals flash. Yes, command equals flash. Is this the wrong way to test string in compare? We also could have not opened the file. I mean, that's a possibility. What happens if this fails, right? There's else? Can we do with and else?
We can just, I guess, print a message at end or something to know if it goes there.
Yeah, that's true. Should have opened and closed by now, but we didn't. No.
Maybe it's failing because it needs super user privileges.
We read running.
Like, can we read?
But there's a new line at the end of running, and that's why.
Okay, yeah. We can, I guess, trim it. Is that the right command in Python?
Yeah. Or is it string.trim?
It's strip, not trim.
I don't know which is more proper. I mean, we can probably trust the Linux kernel to be consistent-ish. I don't know. Anyway, it had a new line. That was the big. I don't know what our debug print statements are, but we read running. Just for my own curiosity, if that's all you have to do is that strip. Yep. So if it wasn't running, we could what are the other states? Should put a link to this into the code so that people know what we should be looking for. So I'm looking for offline, right? Doesn't say it's going to include new lines there. Is it offline, or is that not suspended running crashed? Oh, it's powered off. Is there anything else? I mean, is that the state it should be in? Because it's not going to be suspended. Must be woken to receive messages, maybe. It's offline, and we want to I guess we could rewind and write this F. I don't know that we want to be in an if. State equals that, and firmware equals firmware. Is this do we have to set the modes? Because I want to do.
You probably do not want to like keep the SysFS open, since like reading from it the second time will most probably give you some garbage thing.
Right, I get that, but I can do rewinds and like as long as I issue the right calls, it should be okay, right? If you just try to read it, yeah, it's going to be nonsense if you try to read it again. But if you understand what it is, there's no reason to get a new file handle, is there?
So, from what I know, the ABI of SysFS is technically not considered stable. So only fopen is like supposed to actually
Testing.
reset things. But yeah, maybe it might work.
Okay, so you're saying that the expecting another dot open, not a rewind. Huh. Okay, well, it's going to make the code ugly, but so how do we I mean, really, there should still be file handling, right? How do I make this code clean? I think the way to make this code clean is like if we make another function that's like read. I should probably make another function for reading. Yeah, that's the way to make this clean. We make a private function. Def is private. I don't know what they're. Does that look like a rational read sysfs?
Yeah.
And I can do a similar right sysfs tent, and then just let me. What's the oh, it's not this one. What the official Python one? Where's the official Python writing? Like the last thing that shows up is the official Python documentation. Calling f.write without using, yeah, we're use with, all right.
That's most, I think, because of a missing flush, I guess. Which calls flush at the end of the block.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, we want flush to be called, so right here at the end, but we won't know if it really succeeded. That's the problem here. We can do f dot flush here. I don't know if that's really going to say that we're really going to know that we had success. Right. So simplify this code already. The state will be empty. We can also choose to strip there. Should we strip on our reads?
Yes.
Let's just do that.
That would be better.
Then we can just look at running. Self. This is all about learning Python. Takes one positional argument, but two were given. Self. I didn't give two.
It's because it's like if you call self dot something, it is self.
Yeah. So no, but I don't. Can I make it a class for? I want to make it a class private. I don't, because it has no context. I want it to be a class method and a. Okay, well I could do that. First of all, I can do a class method. All right, that's good. We don't need these to. We don't need those to be contextual. Like there's nothing. But I said it's a class method. It shouldn't need self if it's a class method.
Okay, so like there exist static methods, but even calling those is a bit weird.
That's it. It's the call. This isn't the way you call class methods. I mean, understanding class methods, right, is the thing. Call class method.
Okay, it's class name dot the method.
Even from within the class?
I think so.
Is there a private class method? Okay, just putting underscores. All right, let's do it that way. So it's ugly to me. Python's ugly to me, so we're gonna call. Oh my god, are you kidding me? All right, that's ugly. You know, for a little local method, that's obnoxious. That is some disgusting syntax. Oh, takes one position. Was given two. Okay. What do we not understand about calling class methods? Private method self. It's all right. I guess class methods are just weird and so if it's local, do I even have to I don't get it. I don't get it. This is just dumb. Will it pass its own if it knows it's a class method, right? It should be finding this in scope. It should know to pass self, right? I shouldn't have to tell it to pass self, right? Oh my god, what is this? So what is it looking for? Oh, yeah, don't throw that in. So it knows to pass self. I just need to ask it to look for self. Even though it doesn't make any sense because it should just be able to declare those as class methods. All right. Yep. Does what we expect. So can't stop, won't stop. Shall I reboot and
So is the audio broken on the YouTube side? Someone just messaged.
on the YouTube side?
Yep.
Bill Clinton just chatted. So on OBS, it seems to be getting audio for at least from me. I don't know if everybody else is being mixed in. Go ahead and speak. Can you speak?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm seeing
Yeah.
it in my desktop
It seems
audio.
to work.
So OBS is getting audio, so I think it's in the stream.
Yeah, I can hear on YouTube side as well. I just tried now.
Okay. All right. Let's so I need to remove. Looks like everything else is kind of named with like TISDK or stuff like that. So I'm just going to remove the existing file. How did I name that wrong? Oh, J722S. Okay. 22S. Constantly want to hit Control E. I don't know Control what's. Remove that file. All right. Yes. Remove write protected file. Sudo remove it. I mean it. Okay. firmware files removed. If we reboot now, but when we actually do install it, we're going to want to, I think we're going to want to write the write to firmware. I think we're going to want to write these under write to firmware. I'm going to write it to call it just Zephyr.elf. I don't know. Do we want to give it a more interesting? Well, we should probably give it some type of name related to the processor. But what do we have? We have this board target that we didn't save. We could save it off. I hate Python. Self.target. Like if we just call it self.target and then elf, that should be reasonable, right? But we're going to have to copy the file there, right? So should we just do a system call for that? Oh, they have shell utils. That's interesting. Maybe we should just use the shell util copy. That looks like a rational one. Util copy. What's our target file? Elf file. Do we not save it off anywhere else? We gotta go back into the runner config. Or do we save it off? No, we just saved off runner config, so... Oh no, we saved self.elf file. Yeah, why are we looking at that one? Because we have self.elf file. Is that coming out of runner config elf file or empty? So it's always going to have something. Let's say, let's call this self.firmware name. All right, so now we have, oh, but we're gonna have to put the directory there. So, copy into lib firmware name ELF file. And what else do we do? So we write to the sysfs our new firmware name, then we then we copy the file that we want to load, and then we write to state, and we're going to write start. All right, none of that should run right now. But if I reboot, let's commit this. Oh. Oops, touched a file. All right. All right, rebooting. All right, we're about 15 minutes to go on the day. Hopefully this has been a productive day. It seems to go slow to me. I feel like I should be able to output a lot more in 2 hours, but hopefully it's better quality with everybody kind of chiming in. Hopefully nobody feels like their time's being wasted here. I've got a green light again. Oh, that's because I never actually shut him. Now we got a red light. Yeah, you can't see, I guess, where I've got the board. It would be nice to have the board on the video camera for some of this stuff, but to see like the lights going red and green, having the blinky green light is really nice. So I've got blinky green light, so Linux is running again. Just give a minute for the Visual Studio Code to come back. I don't know if it's going to connect automatically with the retries that are here. All right, I want to hear somebody else's voice besides me.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
I'm yeah.
Are you getting
I'm
anything?
looking at CMake. It's fun.
What are you looking at?
I hate CMake errors. EdgeAI GST apps app CPP build error. Flags make 10 missing operator. Except CMake is generating a make file with a missing operator for like a tab, and I don't know where the tab is.
Oh God.
So
maybe we should go around the room helping each other debug.
yeah. I also don't understand CMake to the point where it's like, you know, you have a make file, but then you also have a CMake file, and then like CMake auto generates make files, and it's like, wait, what are you doing? Is this installation the result of a cross compile? There's a bunch of if defs, and it's like, do not change them.
I think you can avoid CMake generating make files, but I'm not sure. Is that? I don't think it has to be an artifact, right? I think that's an optional artifact. I could be wrong.
I would hope so. Default target.
I mean, knowing which one's on top of the other, it's just kind of like it just gets really.
You've seen what this stack is, right? This is a, you know, 30 CMake files later, and you know.
All right, so now when I try to, oh, first of all, let's check the status. Like, let's see if we look at dev remote proc main state. We look at it, it is offline, which is the state we expect it to be in. Now, if we go and do West Flash. I don't know why it thinks it has to rebuild, but who cares?
Oh, that's a thing in West Flash. It actually rebuilds, it builds it and then flashes it. That's always been it.
Yeah, but it looks, yeah. think there's something more to that. Oh, I don't know Python.
Westflash does not always rebuild.
At
It
least,
only rebuilds when it
at least.
thinks something changed.
Oh, because whenever I see it in STM and ESP, and even Nordic, I always get it to rebuild automatically when I use Westflash.
I agree. It thought something changed. As far as what it thinks it needs to check has changed. It doesn't have to rebuild just because you say Westflash. There's something else going on.
Yeah, in case of Beagle Connect Freedom, it does not always rebuild, at least.
So just yep. So it was just telling me that I don't know Python because I don't know that true and false are capitalized. WB is not the right. Oh no, it's internally. Follow some links. This is in shell utils. This is the copy.
Can you copy without sudo?
That's a good question.
Yeah, actually, normally use sudo for getting that copy.
But lib firmware, like it's probably fine when the individual firmware might not be, that file might have the right permissions, but I don't think that directory is going to allow it.
Correct, because I always use sudo for the lib firmware.
Yeah. At least want to see this. See what it's trying to copy from where to where, but I bet that you're. What says no such file? I've got these crazy. Yeah, I need to get rid of those. Yeah. Okay. How do I? Yeah. So right now it's just readable, but I need to. My choice of using that crazy target. I forgot about that. It includes slashes in it. I really just want the last part of it, right? I just want this main. That's all I want is this last part, main underscore R5. So can I trim everything ahead of a slash? We did
You
that
can
with the
split
regex.
everything slash and then take the last thing that comes out, I think.
The last slash. I mean, just do that with the regex.
No, so you split the string.
Oh, and just take the last element. Yeah, take the last element of the array. So split off of slash, and then it's just -1?
Yeah, the last element is -1.
Yeah, alright. I still should get an error, but at least I should see a name that's... Yep, now I get permission denied instead of file doesn't exist. Yep, I can't copy to... Hey, I've got a good name there. Am I happy with that? Yeah, lib main. Yep, I'm happy with that. So where's the place that people are going to commonly want to solve this problem, right? You don't want to do sudo westflash, right? So like normally in the system we're going to be changing.
Can't we keep some special group that can allow this?
We
Something
could
like
make a
Zephyr.
group, but the thing is there's no subdirectory like to assign that group to. Maybe if we made a Zephyr subdirectory?
Yeah, maybe like lib firmware Zephyr and then move all the elf files to those specified only to that.
Yeah, normally I don't think we use... Okay, there are subdirectories, yeah. Looks like something did write Zephyr elf. I don't know if that was probably me earlier. Interesting. So will we add a directory Zephyr? Oh. All right, let's use the subdirectory. I don't know. Do we? Oh, that's not there because I've got to do. Now when you write the name, I'm going to need to write the name Zephyr /plus. I feel like this is a little confusing. Especially since it has Zephyr.elf. Alright, so we copied build hello Zephyr Zephyr.elf to... Oh, copied it to the wrong... My copy didn't get fixed. Yeah, so now that's... Yeah, I need to put this into the firmware name of Zephyr / that goes firmware name.
Yep.
Self.firmware name.
Is there any reason why lib firmware requires a sudo privilege?
Is there any reason why...
So one possible reason is that some drivers actually pick the firmware from lib firmware and flash it at boot. So you probably don't want every user to be able to copy files to that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, well, that's actually interesting. Never thought of that.
I have seen tutorials that do it. I'm not sure if any driver actually does it.
Okay, that makes sense why it's actually requires sudo privilege.
Oh, weird. So, I fixed my... Okay, that's what happened. I fixed the actual copy location, but I didn't fix my print statement. So that confused me. Yeah, so that's why it's right to go back and fix it in the name of the firmware name. And so now I just... So it did work, right? So there's now... So how do I know that the... So I built Hello World. What should Hello World do? If I opened up
I think so. In the in either your
TO...
UART.
Does the hello world in the remote proc UART patch? Because it will not print anything to RP message without it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have that patch. This is
Wait. Right now, where is it directed? The print statements. Is it to remote proc or is it to UART?
All good questions. Are we? Let me put this a hold side right now. So right now, if you look at this Zephyr,
I think it should be there in the K config, if I'm not wrong, within the J7S22.
I'm pretty sure it's currently redirected to UART and not remote proc, since the remote proc thing is not an actual UART driver right now. At least it was not like the last time, and it was just a hack in the MicroPython source to redirect stuff to remote proc.
Yep.
so where would
with
I
only-
find that though? Where would I? So is that going to show up in my build configs, like in my?
No. You're required to attach your FTDI cable and then connect it to your laptop.
No. That's where I find the actual content of, like, I understand, like, right now if it's directed to UART, but how do I configure my project to either go to UART or to RP message? How do I do that?
You cannot configure it right now.
You can't right now. There should be a way, there should be first of all a support for the remote proc. Another thing is that it should be possible in the SOC config, if I'm not wrong.
There's basic support for remote proc in Zephyr, but since it is not an UART, like there's no UART driver that passes messages to remote proc,
Yeah,
so you
it's like
cannot actually use the normal console with the remote proc right now.
it's like a shim driver. You should be able to find it within the soc.config, the changes, I think.
Okay, so if I go to Zephyr, SOC, and TI and J7, K3. I don't know where to look under.
One second, I have the path. Just give me a sec.
Because we have it for the MicroPython, so that's why it's kind of strange to me. It's not part of Hello World, right? If it's not something
for the
configurable in a project.
MicroPython stuff, it's actually like in the MicroPython tree,
Oh, right.
not in the Zephyr tree.
Right. Okay. Well, this is a good point to stop, I think. I will push these patches up to our Zephyr. I think we've got kind of a rational remote block flasher now. It doesn't, not ready to go upstream or anything, but it's it's something that we can actually use West Flash now. We'll need something that where we can actually issue a stop.
Yep.
But hopefully this gives something reasonable for folks to say, okay, I can do West Flash. And,
Okay. Jason, it's in the DT file. Zephyr console is in UART1.
You're talking about the
redirection.
the project DT or the SOC DT?
It's in the board DTS.
Okay.
BeagleY-AI JS J722S main R500 DTS.
Oh, so it should that's a reasonable place for it to be selectable. I think that makes sense. Because we can overload that in a project DT, like this one, console.
Yeah, you should find it in the Zephyr console is equals to UART1.
Yep, it's at UART1 right now, and eventually that should be like RP message.
Correct.
Okay.
I think the RP message right now, I think some mailbox is trying to be upstreamed by Vaishnav, yeah.
Yeah, I did see the patches for that.
I think RP message still kind of pending. It's partially done.
Yeah, no, that's a completely rational place to put it. And then, of course, if you want to change it in your project, or you can always do an overlay DT.
Yep.
All right, perfect. All right, I'm going to stop the recording and get on. Thank you very much for your time today. Really appreciate it. I think we can keep doing this and come back with the questions and try to tackle things. But hopefully, this is getting something useful down for Progeny.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. I see some waves.
Wait, before you go, one second, because I also finished mine. Oh my fucking god! You know what the error was?